the seal dribble, the Anthony, whatever the hell this is. Football loves its entertainers, but can we build an entire team around showmanship in FM26? And can we do it with Moneyball? Now you might be thinking, but Musterman, Moneyball is the art of finding players undervalued by the market. It's about efficiency, not entertainment. And you'd be right. The Oakland Athletics prioritised on-base percentage, getting on base safely, over batting average, getting on base safely after hitting the ball. It's the same outcome, but without the flashy headlines. Now there is no analogue for on-base percentage in football. The sport is still searching for that one mystery metric which indicates success and allows you to unearth those undervalued gems. That's what we'll try and find in Moneyballers. For each team, I'll build around a central idea, in this case showmanship. We'll look at how that can be measured, and with each episode evolve our approach. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll stumble across that magic Moneyball metric in FM26. We're off to the north of France for this one. USL Dunkerque in Ligue 2 have never played top-flight football, but they did reach the playoffs last season, losing out to eventual winners FC Metz. They're expected to regress this year, predicted to finish in the bottom half. But why Dunkerque? It's mainly because of this man.
I love syrup.
Demba Ba, the man who scored after Steven Gerrard's infamous slip, is their director of football. We're going to lean into that a little, as we take up the reins as his former Newcastle teammate, Hatem Ben Arfa. Look, it's the best I could do with a manager-creator. We've brought some of Ben Arfa's pals with us too. Hilton, his former Marseille teammate, arrives as assistant manager, whilst he played with Remy Vercoutre at Lyon, and he'll be our goalkeeping coach. Now, does any of that really matter? No, but it's nice to build a little backstory. As we're in France, here is the setup. The top 5 European nations. Then I use Transfer Market to look up which nations are most represented in Ligue 2. Those African leagues aren't available in the base game, but Belgium is, so that's been added. We aspire to get promoted, so let's check the same for Ligue 1. Portugal, Brazil and Argentina feature heavily, so let's get them added too. As always, the first transfer window has been disabled, so we'll roll with the squad we inherit. And this is a good time to introduce that squad. Starting with the goalkeepers, Marcus Lavin is our clear starter. Toulouse loanee Mathias Neflor his backup. At right centre-back, Vincent Sasso is old and slow, as is Opus Ngante. At left centre-back, Jeffrey Kondo can't jump, and Victor Mayella has no face. We're off to a good start here. At right back, Alec Georgian is quick and creative. Lingay is a decent backup. At left back, just Abner Felipe, who's weak defensively. For deep midfielders, we have the technically solid, but physically weak Inigo Aguirre, the all-round underwhelming Kayembe Tete. Malik Diop is quick, but can't defend, and Thina Massacre's tall, but can't attack. On the right wing, Gassim Yassine is our most technically gifted player. On the left wing, Papa de Jong is quick and tall, Zusu is just quick, and Alex Dahu kind of just there. In attacking midfield, Enzo Bardelli and Eddie Silvestre have very similar profiles, with Antoine Sekongo just a little bit behind them. Then up front, Robinet is a solid all-rounder. Kante is Robinet, but worse, whilst Simi offers a little more pace and technicality. Now that was a bit of a whirlwind tour. We're going to take a look at a few of them in more detail in a moment, but with no data at the beginning of a save, first we need to focus in on an attribute. What engenders showmanship more than flair? Enzo Bardelli's 14 is pretty good for the second tier. Add in his work rate and determination, and he will be the heartbeat of this team. His contract is due to expire though, and well, he can be the heartbeat for the first season, I suppose. He's not the only one with a penchant for the unexpected. Thomas Robinet, who has 2 career goals and 73 Ligue 2 appearances, also has 14 flair, as does right back Alec Georgian. Abner Felipe, Aguirre, Silvestre and de Jong are not far behind on 13 each, and with that we can start to see the skeleton of our tactic. Bardelli is our star, so let's make him a playmaker. Georgian is surprisingly creative, so let's make him one too. Felipe can cross but can't defend, so he's a wingback. Aguirre can pass but can't run, so let's make him ping balls as a halfback. Silvestre is a good passer, so he can be an inverted winger. De Jong can finish but can't dribble, so he's an inside forward. The rest of the players are just gristle, cartilage that holds everything together. Now I want to give my players the platform to express themselves, so in-possession instructions are kept to a minimum. Obviously we allow creative freedom, that's a given. We'll encourage dribbling because it's fun. We'll play narrower because that's where our creative players are, and we'll take short goal kicks so we don't just hoof it away. Out of possession we'll drop the wingers back. Because of Bardelli's work rate we'll ask him to track and have Robinet as the outlet. Now defensive instructions are a little more tricky. A chaotic all-out blitz is fun, but I also want my players to conserve their energy for when they do have the ball. So we'll settle somewhere in between the two, a mid-block but counter-press, a moderate increase to pressing. Oh, and we'll tackle harder because that always gets the crowd worked up. Player instructions are minimal too. We'll ask Silvestre to stay wider to give Georgian some space, and all three attacking midfielders will have the freedom to roam. Finally, we plump for an attacking mentality, because nobody finds caution entertaining. Now this would normally be the point where I tell you that I delegate everything, but I've turned a new leaf. We'll talk about scouting in the next episode, but for now, let's talk about training. And bear with me, we're about to spend some time on the worst screens in FM26. We want flair, so we're going to concentrate on flair. Chance creation is a session that addresses this, so it's in the schedule 3 times a week. Defending engaged does too, albeit the attacking unit is secondary. Ligue 2 matches take place on a Friday, and I like to give the starting outfield players an extra day's rest, so Sunday is a great place to sneak in a goalkeeper-specific training session. Finally, it's just a game, but I still want to foster good human beings, so community outreach is a non-negotiable. In fact, I have this weird thing about treating the players as if they were real. When we don't have a game, we have a short session on Fridays, followed by a piss-up and the weekend off. Right, we're good to go. This is how it works. I holiday between games, pick the starting lineup, then hit instant result. Thomas Robinet, a man who failed to score a single goal during his previous season in Ligue 2, scored in each and every one of our opening 6 games, as we won 5 and drew 1. When Robinet wasn't scoring, Bardelli was doing this. Our first big test came at home against Montpellier, where young Eli Kayembe Tete scored the winner in the 75th minute. 4th place Red Star inflicted our first defeat of the season, Cabral's 94th minute winner the difference. Rons absolutely spanked us in the very next match, Gabane, Daramy and Salama adding to Aguirre's own goal en route to a 4-2 victory. We bounced back. At a snowy Marcel Tribou stadium, Enzo Bardelli bust out not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different goal celebrations. With the winter break looming, Laval inflicted our 3rd defeat of the season. You might have noticed a different goalkeeper name there. Sebastian Tau, an unpaid amateur, stood in between the sticks after injuries to both Lavan and Neflor. Thankfully, their returns were imminent. At the halfway point, we topped the table, having scored 12 more goals than the next best team. Now, I'm not one to rest on my laurels though. With Sangante away for the African Cup of Nations, we brought in free agent centre-back Josip Elez. 12 flair for a centre-back. That actually hastened Sangante's departure. We gave him away for free, just to shift his 2.8k in wages off the books. We also loaned out 3rd choice striker Aboubakar Kante, with NAC Breda covering his wages in full. That allowed us to add depth in midfield. Former Ben Arfa teammate Roman Amalfitano and his 13 flair arrived on a free transfer. He would go on to spend most of the time injured. A 0-0 draw against Le Mans in January would see us fail to score for the first time all season. Poor Arnie bore the brunt of our frustrations as we pumped them for 4 in the very next match. Guingamp fell to the very same fate, thanks in part to Robinet's hat-trick. Amiens and Bastia both lost 2-0, and then came the slump. Clermont-Foot held us 2-2. Norman Bisset scored the winner for Reims, Cabral once more for Red Star as both teams completed the double over us. A draw against Troyes made it 4 without a win, with only 6 games remaining. We'd slipped to second, Reims 2 points ahead, Red Star 2 points behind. We scraped past Rodez to put us back on track, only to fall at the very next hurdle. Irvin Cardona with a 91st minute winner for Saint Etienne. Against Laval, it was our turn to score in the 91st minute, but that merely secured a 3-3 draw. By the time we'd beaten already relegated Boulogne in the next game, Reims were already champions. Grenoble and Nancy provided little resistance in our final 2 matches, and with that we secured promotion to Ligue 1. We scored 14 goals more than anyone else. In fact, there were 117 goals in total in our 34 games. That's entertainment, right? In fact, this is a good point to introduce our first metric of the save: excitement factor. There is no tricks per 90 stat, nor a record for the number of times the crowd stood in applause, so we're going to focus on 2 things: shot creating actions and dribbles. Well, technically 3 things. Dribbles are self-explanatory, but shot creating actions includes both the shot itself and the pass that created that shot, where applicable. Now personally, I'm going to focus on open play key passes because set pieces don't excite me as much. So with that in mind, let's see how the players got on. I've hidden players with under 1,000 minutes, as that's not enough to fairly assess. We'll ignore the keeper and start with centre-backs. Sasso's combined excitement factor was 0.7. New signing Elez pushes up to 0.9. Kondo led the way with 1.3, but he did occasionally swing out to left back. Alec Georgian's 7.6 is comfortably ahead of his backup Alan Lingay, but it's Abner Felipe who was the most entertaining fullback, registering an excitement factor of 8.3 per 90. Inigo Agueras dropped into the back line as a halfback, which explains why he scores 1.6 compared to Kayembe Tete's 2.3. Enzo Bardelli was our most creative player, with 3.2 open play key passes, but a combined excitement factor of only 7.7. The wide players blew him out of the water. Yassine scored 9.4, Diong 9.6, and Eddie Silvestre got fans on their feet 10.7 times per game. 13 goals and 20 assists will certainly do that. Up front, Thomas Robinet registered a score of 6.4. That gives us an average excitement factor of 5.6. But this is meaningless without context. So I recorded the output of every player in the league with over 1,000 minutes. From there I could calculate the average for each metric and each team as a whole. The league average is an excitement factor per player per 90 of 4.1. We were the most entertaining team in the league, 36.5% above the average, although Saint Etienne were not far behind. We made the most open play key passes and took the most shots, but a couple of teams were more dribbly than us. It's a job well done. I thought we were good enough to fight for maybe that last playoff spot, so promotion is fantastic. But truth be told, I'd prefer to have stayed in Ligue 2, a chance to rebuild without the threat of a relegation battle. But that's for next episode, where we'll take the data you've just seen and create a weighted excitement factor, then use that to guide our transfer dealings. See you then. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing. And if you want to support the channel further, you can join these wonderful folk currently adorning your screen, either as a YouTube member or patron, where you'll get access to a raft of benefits, including director's cut videos. Details, as always, in the description below.